Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with some of the editing tool. So if we look at this movie, you can see that we've got the images at the top, and then underneath in the grey area, the images have got their own audio, and then below that we have another audio, which is actually an imported song. And so for this, we might want, let's have a look, we might want the audio from the images to be gone. So if we click on that and we click on the volume, we can turn the volume of that right down. You can see that it disappears. Can you see it? Rise up and disappears. So we know that that's down now to zero. So we're going to be able to hear just the song for that bit. I'll say, okay, we're going to nip into, so you can see lots of waving going on there. Maybe I think, oh, that's too long. I don't need all of that. So there's a couple of ways we can shorten it. We can take the big yellow bar at the end. I've got my, oops, hold on. The big yellow bar at the end, I'm going to put my finger on it and I'm just going to drag it over. So you see I can make the clip shorter and shorter and shorter. Okay, so that's an easy way to trim. Alright, I might decide that actually I want this in two sections, so I'm going to click on it, click on the scissors and split, and it will split where the white bar was. So I've now got two bits, and I can pick this one up by pressing on it and holding it, and I can drop it somewhere else. So actually I've now got two bits of the bus separated by this river image here. Okay, what else can we do on these? So for the speed one, maybe we think this one's going too slowly, so we can make it, sorry, too quickly, so we can make it last a lot longer, just a little bit longer, or really speed it up to 2 times faster. Okay, now in between where the white line is right now, we can see a little, can I click on that? Yep, a little transition. Okay, so if you click on that, you can change the transition. So these are the choices. You can fade from one to the other. So you can see it works like that. Or you can have a slide from one to the other. Ooh, it slides in. Okay, what I'd say about transitions is it's fine. You can use them when when you're doing this with the students, of course. Tell them it's fine. They can use it, but they should only really use one type of transition for one movie. So you can see here I've got a different type of transition here with the dissolve from one to the other. So whichever one they use, they should probably stick with all the way through. Just be aware that it also steals a bit of the clip when you put a transition in, rather than just a simple switch over, which is what this one is. Okay, same goes for titles. If they're going to use titles, they should really choose the same one every time and have it in the same place down at the bottom. Is often a good place. Just be really aware of what the background is, because obviously the white writing works where it is right now, but if it had been up in the top left, you wouldn't have been able to read it, and you'd be amazed how many times the students think that's okay. So one thing that can ruin movies is this thing called the Ken Burns effect. So if we look at this one here, this is just a photo, but iMovie puts this effect on where the photo moves. Okay, and as you can see on this one, it basically starts where we can't see somebody's face. By the end, their face sort of appears, but then goes off again. And often the students use this quite badly, or they allow iMovie to put it on, and it's quite ineffective. So if we click on the picture, you can see here we've got a menu where we can choose where we start. So we can start with their faces, which I think is probably a good idea. Might come out just a little bit. Okay, and then we'll end also on their faces. So it's just a subtle change. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so that's just a subtle change there, which is often a lot nicer. Or if you don't want it at all, you can obviously just turn it off, and then you just get the static photo wherever you've decided to pinch it to. Alright, maybe I want a bit where I don't want the song to be playing, so I can actually click on the song, and I can split the song as well, and nip over here where, oh, I'd quite like it to be loud again. Okay, and so I split it there, and then for this section here, I'm going to change the level of it to be nice and quiet, and then it's going to kick back in afterwards. Okay. Also, I can have it fade, so it can start coming back in quietly. I don't know if you can see. Can you see where? So it comes in quietly and gradually comes in, and I can also have that at the end as well. He says, scooting over. Okay, kind of a fade at the end, so it fades out. It's not a big stop from nothing to loud or from loud to nothing. Okay, and obviously this one's being sped up, so we can have a look inside. Okay, yep, 2/3. It was sped up before it was airdropped to me. Okay, so those are all the major tools that you will use and your students will use. Just try and keep them to not overcomplicate things, and that simple is usually far more effective when you're creating messages for somebody else. Thank you.